National Concert Hall, are delighted to announce tonight that Louise Mulcahy is the recipient of the Liam O'Flynn Award for 2022.
Woo! Yay! Well deserved!
As we all probably know, Seamus Heaney and Liam were great friends, and Seamus wrote poetry for him, and particularly these tankas, which is based on the Japanese model, and so I'm going to read you some of these. The Uilleann Pipes by Seamus Heaney. Note, Uilleann was spelt incorrectly by Seamus to annoy Liam. Security men, puzzled by the long flat case a piper carried, stopped him. "Is that a gun, sir?" "Oh, worse," he declared. "Far worse. You don't blow into Uilleann pipes. Your elbow works a set of bellows. Slow airs that might have breathed on the face of the deep are breathed on a set of reeds that learners learn on how to run rings around themselves, first on the chanter, later on regulators and drones. Hence, writes Geraldus Cambrensis, those very things the most perceptive value the most will appear to others disordered noise. And I'm joined by the great Noel Hill.
Yes, where we are. Thanks, Stephen. I'm going to play the it's one of the most tragic tunes, I think, the Queen of Limni, the Lament for Limerick, played after the fall of Limerick to the Williamites, and an event that changed.
He said, the Rushy Mountain, a ridge of countryside running north-south along the Kerry-Cork borders, and containing an extraordinarily rich scene of music and poetry dating back to the Aisling poets Owen Roe, O'Sullivan, and Egan O'Rahilly, where a young poet, in order to gain admittance and acceptance into that brotherhood, had to come with his Aisling in his hand. Somebody said of Slave Lucra that the trouble with it is that it won't stand still. It keeps expanding in every direction as its fame increases. And now we have Noel's been joined by the equally great Paddy Dodd. Music from Slave Lucra.
Not bad.
So, of course, Heaney wasn't the only poet, to write something for Liam O'Flynn. I've got a poem here by Steve Cooney called God's Glue. Arriving late for a concert date of Piper O'Flynn and his crew would be tempting fate. He would have to wait without and try to peer through, while his Ulster Ken and himself play within. No, that just wouldn't do. I arrived just in time, and since then penned this rhyme to remember these strands of God's glue. Tyrone's man McGlynn, Professor O'Flynn, and the duo from Derry sit down. The lights become low, psychic energy flows, my heart sings while these experts frown. An expectant hush, but no need to rush. McGlynn's strings strike, I am floored. Oh, Flynn's whistle of tin goes out on its limb, while McVeigh rides his cosmic chords. I soon detected that the tunes selected were perfected many moons in advance, lovingly dissected, the disarmingly projected, internally evolving in a dance. On feathery wings of sound, their echoing rebounds around their found lost chords of true trance. The sweetest of ensembles, so proud yet so humble, they won't stumble on their staircase, not a chance. Oh, what a sweet night! The humidity right of the reed and the bag in bloom, the chanter contented with air fresh and scented, consented to play in tune, as O'Flynn worked his bellows with these worthy fellows, joy sprung from hearts through the womb. For these deaf believers in great warp and weft were weavers upon God's loom.
Woo!
Liam O'Flynn wrote this piece on the fox chase. Originally said to have been composed by Tipperary piper Edward Keating Highland in 1799, Liam was first in contact with this piece through Leo Rosen and later encountered the very different Seamus Ennis version. This epic piece is perhaps the best existing example of descriptive music composition in the Irish traditional style, telling the story of the different phases in a typical late 18th century fox song. And I want to introduce to you the young, very brilliant Dublin piper, Sir Henry Scully, who's going to play the fox chase, and then after that she'll be followed by the wonderful trio of Sean Keane, Pádraig McMahona and Noel O'Grady.
It's great to see the future of Michael as well.
Were you all for a few minutes before? Not at all. Liam O'Flynn talking about slow airs. Within the body of traditional music, which includes jigs, reels, hornpipes, and of those there are many thousands, there is a separate category called slow airs or song tunes. So many come from the 18th century when in many cases great poems were written to fit existing tunes. Love poems, laments, political poems. These tunes in performance of an emotional intensity far exceeding what you might expect from their simple musical form. And he notes, Irish people have an extraordinary preoccupation with and love for landscape and nature. The belief that rivers, rocks, mountains, indeed the wind are inhabited by spirits. True of indigenous people the world over. Like the Tibetans, people who have great respect for their surroundings, where mountains are goddesses and lakes are sacred. So I'm going to hand you back. We're going to play a great song here, A Storm of Hurry.
Yes, this again is a very Liam from West Clare, and I think it exemplifies what Stephen was talking about in terms of styles.
And it's called The Geese and the Bar.
Who's doing it? Luis Macayo.
This is one of the greatest and best known monster song airs, and has been part of my repertoire from the beginning. It exists in many versions associated with various political events, the oldest being a 98 song. But for me, this is the classic version. It takes its title from the mountain Sheernamon near Clonmel, County Tipperary. This is Liam O'Connor, director of ITMA, and Paddy McAvoy to play Sheernamon. So this is a piece Liam wrote by Leo Rosen. Leo Rosen, the third generation of an unbroken line of Ellen Piper carried through by his son Leon and his son Kevin to 5 generations of uilleann pipers, unbroken. Leo was the first piper to perform on national radio, the first to perform on BBC television, the first recording made by Clatter Records, Reen of Tilbury, 1966. As a player and performer, his sheer pride and joy in his music making, the complete master of his instrument, his unmistakable sound, pipes and piping like they'd never heard before. Leo was totally in love with the damned instrument. He lived for it. He was unique in that he made instruments second to none, and reeds Liam could play exceptionally well. And so I, as a young piper, absorbed this love and enthusiasm for piping. A unique genius whose influence has entered into the lives of uilleann pipers in particular, and traditional music in general. And now I'd like to introduce you to brilliant piper Colin Broderick, who will play from Liam O'Flynn's Rosen set of concert pitch pipes left in a Peabody uilleann by Liam. Here, Liam wrote about a couple of his own compositions, 2 jigs that were only discovered after his collection was presented at MAC. The Return of the Pedal Board. This tune concerns a cantankerous and unpredictable piece of electronic equipment which belonged to that great musician and friend, Artie McGlynn. On more than one occasion on stage, it has caused its own great distress and the rest of us great amusement. So when it went missing after a trip abroad, all seemed safe and well. But unbelievably, it reappeared soon after, delivered safely home by a returning musician. A new tune seemed the only response. And the second one is called The Piper's Stone. County Kildare, Liam's home county, has very strong links with the uilleann piping tradition. Among the most notable uilleann pipers from the county were the great John Cash and the famous Curra racecourse trainer and piper, sporting Captain Kelly, whose pipes were on display until recently in Kilkea Castle. The great pipe maker Morris Coyne came from Carbery in County Kildare. This tune celebrates these links and takes its name from a famous landmark in the south of the county, the Piper's Stone. So I want to introduce you to O'Gluin, a new generation of talented young women musicians who will play Liam's 2 jigs. There's Eileen O'Connor, Nisha McRafa, Roisin Nichasada, Ellen Potts, Eamon Niscully, and Kaylin Niscully. Spencer too, I thought, given his blast against barbs, might have given vent to views on pipes and pipers, but not a word can I find. Liam O'Flynn says that the only English rhyme for the word uilleann, from Irish illa, meaning elbow, is the word villain. A shadu, pronounced a shadu, or near enough, and meaning blowing, used of great biblical winds, means also to play the pipes. The solicitor questioned the dying master one last time. You want to leave your pipes to that man? Why? Because he can play them. This last tanker refers to Seamus Ennis and his passing on of the pipes to Liam. I want to introduce you to Mary Berger, Tony Renan, and Mick Kennedy. Yeah. Right. Getting there. This is Liam O'Flynn on the backdrop, Liturgical Carol in 1670 to 1738. The penal laws continued in their full rigour right through Caroline's lifetime. They were directed against the practice of religion, education, and the possession of property, and just about everything else in between. The Battle of Kinsale had marked the end of independence in any form for 3 centuries, and also the beginning of the end of the system where poets and harpers had found a natural place. So I want to, when we get sorted out, we'll see Alicia and Steve Curtis. They're going to be joined afterwards by Matt Malloy, Neil Martin, and Sean King. So this is Liam on his composition Andriche. In the autumn of 1997, I was honoured with a request by Ireland's President Mary McAleese to write and perform a piece for her inauguration. The music is based on the theme of her presidency, the building of bridges between communities, hence the title, Andriche. So I thought it might be appropriate to finish with the words of Mary McAleese about Liam after his death. The memory of a wonderful Irish genius, a man of humanity and character, humour and humility, will long nourish us in this world where such characters are rare and getting rarer. And we can reach for his music anywhere, anytime, and it will for generations and centuries to come weave its magic, cast its spell, break open emotions. Liam will continue to make the Irish piping tradition the international phenomenon that it has found its place as part of humanity's universal musical patrimony. How can we